Hey, what is good, everybody? Welcome to the Army Vet VR. That's right, where we're bringing to you first person shooters, mil sim, flight sim, and even a bit of GTA 5 on all forms of video game social media, including Twitch, Omelette Arcade, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. Today, it's ARMA 3 versus DCS in the Battle of the Helicopter Sims. Which one is better? So, rather than get into some gameplay, now this is also my first time flying a helicopter in ARMA 3. So, I'm going to take everything I learned in DCS, bring it over with me to ARMA 3, and see how well it translates. What I want to do here is compare which is the better, more realistic simulator, which is the easier simulator, and we'll talk about graphics and sound and stuff like that as well. Now, as you saw at the beginning of the video, the gratuitous video of me while I was in the armed forces here in Canada. I do have a fair bit of time flying and operating out of helicopters and in helicopters and the Griffins. So today, and to keep things on par, rather than pick a Huey in ARMA 3, I will be generating a Canadian Griffin. Something I've always wanted to do is to fly a Griffin. This is probably the closest I'll ever get. But that's what we're going to fly today, and we'll compare it with the Huey. Now, ARMA 3 has all kinds of different helicopters. They have like a Pawnee, Apache, all kinds of stuff like that. But they fly different than the Huey and the Griffin do. So I wanted to have two helicopters that were roughly similar in flight and aerodynamics to compare this to. So here we go. I'm just going to have a walk around actually before we take off. I want to see what this Griffin looks like and see what its accuracy is. Now, this to me looks like a Griffin. It's accurate. I mean, the outside looks great. It's got the 4-blade rotor vice 2 of the Huey, and the more blades you have on a helicopter, the quieter it is. So the Huey was much louder than the Griffin actually is. The Griffin is very quiet. But let's get in. Let's see what it looks like on the inside. Not bad. It's not quite accurate sort of on the inside here. If you remember from the video in the beginning, there's actually room for like 2 people on the side of a Griffin, not just one, but I guess that's how they're running it. So, I mean, it is a video game, but it's fairly accurate. I'll give it like a 90% accuracy rate. Now, in terms of startup here, ARMA 3 has the easiest startup process. You don't have to do anything other than press a button. So it's auto start. DCS is, a very realistic simulator. And I'm going to say, it's got to be up there with like almost 100% real. You have to flick every switch, all of that, okay? And what's nice about having it in VR is that you can do that all with your hand controllers or your touch controllers. Now, ARMA 3 does offer some VR crossover, but there is no support for touch controllers. So you have to do everything on like a HODAS or your keyboard and mouse, something like that. All right, which can be a plus or a minus depending on how you like to fly. Both in DCS and ARMA 3, I do use HODAS. For me, that's just the easiest way to fly. So I've got them all configured up. Now, I can already feel right away in ARMA 3, this helicopter is much easier to fly. It doesn't want to get away from you as much as the Huey does in DCS. I think the physics and the aerodynamics are much more realistic in DCS based on my flight characteristics right now. It is definitely much harder to obtain, level and, constant velocity in DCS than it is in ARMA 3. This is pretty easy to do. Graphic-wise here, I gotta say that DCS is taking the cake. Now, although the graphics are much clearer in Pancake ARMA 3 as opposed to VR DCS, at least in the VR and DCS, your controls, your gauges, everything is clear. I have everything set on ultra settings for both, so I'm only limited basically by what my goggles put out. And I gotta say that my gauges, everything, labels, everything is clear to read. And on ARMA 3, it's not. You kind of have to know what each gauge is, where it is, and then you can sort of guess, because you're not able to read the labels. Excuse me, because you're not able to read the labels. Now, what I'm getting the feeling of here is that it would be much easier, like say you don't want to spend the time of having to learn really how to fly. ARMA 3, I think, would be the way to go. The piloting is very simple from what I can tell, having flown in DCS too. And I find it much easier, it's much smoother, and I think as a novice pilot, ARMA 3 would be your best simulator to go to. Now, if you've been flying in ARMA 3 for a while, you want to kick it up a notch, maybe you're a pilot in real life, DCS is where it is at. The realism in it is unparalleled by any other simulator that I have played. I absolutely love it. Now, again, I have never flown a helicopter. I've been in them, I've been on them, I've seen them, I've operated out of them, but I've never flown them. And DCS gives me the most realistic feeling of flight and the characteristics and what you experience in flight, as opposed to ARMA 3, which, like I said, is very smooth. But I do love both of these games. These are both amazing simulators. I've flown Microsoft Flight Simulator, Real Flight, Aero Flight, all kinds of different simulators. And these two, for me, take it. Number one, I absolutely love military flight simulators. So, I mean, they're winning right there. But just their makeup, the flight characteristics, the realism, the graphics, all of it, absolutely love it. And if you're into mil-simming or you're into flight simming, I would definitely recommend ARMA 3 and DCS World to you. Again, bear in mind, though, that neither one of these, while there are technically games, they're simulators, and people take these games very seriously. And so these aren't really games that, say you've got 5 or 10 minutes to kill, that you can just jump on and go and be done with it and get back to whatever you were doing before that. These games, if you're going to get into one of these games, you need to sit down for at least a half hour, 45 minutes at a time, to really enjoy and get into and experience. That's me for the day. Thanks for watching us here on Army Vet VR. I hope you're liking it on the AV. Next video coming to you is going to be some GTA 5 and virtual reality. Stick with us. Enjoy your gaming.
Yo, this one's going out there to all my homies, my natives, my brothers, my family that's supporting me. Those that are overseas, those that are on lockdown, and those that are free.
We still living when the loving is gone. Kill, kill was a government song. Sing along, it's just my brothers in arms. Gotta stick together, now more than ever it's